Hello, welcome back. This is Travis with Oscar Mike Radio. I'm a show about military and veterans who are on the move. And I have a special set of guests today, Army veteran, retired, and business owner, Roger Gindlesperger Jr., along with his advocate and co-owner of Grind Toothpaste, Marquez Ogden of the NFL. Gentlemen, welcome to Oscar Mike Radio.
Thank you for having us on, Travis.
Awesome. So kind of like other veterans who I've been talking to in the last year, I met Roger through JP, James Van Puren's Veterans Business Hour, Happy Hour, and he talked about toothpaste. Now, a lot of veterans I know deal in apparel or tattoos or, any number of things, but you're the first, Roger, who's dealt with toothpaste. And I'm a big proponent of oral care. I'll get to that story here in a second. But before we do that, can you kind of tell us, what you did in the military and how that story was like?
Yeah, appreciate being here first and foremost, Travis. So my background, 20 years in the Army, 13 in special operations, 14 combat tours, all in logistics. And then I transitioned out of the Army in 2017, retired. I had a job lined up with Amazon, really good job actually, as an area manager, overseeing inbound receive and storage operations. So it was a good fit for what I did in the Army. That said, I was with Amazon for about a year and a half, got selected to the Amazon launch team to launch the first Salt Lake City fulfillment center. So was on that team, and that brought me back to Utah, and I did some time here in the Army. I retired out of here actually to end my career, which was good. But in-state transitioned into the Air Force as a government civilian in 2019, and I've been there since. And then most recently, last January, me and my wife kicked off this idea that led into Grind Toothpaste. And we launched that back in October of last year.
That is fantastic. And I heard about it, and I couldn't believe it because, again, I think oral health is a huge component of overall health. And, you're using charcoal, which I'm like, isn't charcoal super abrasive? Now, just curious, did you bring in Marquez from the beginning of Grind, or have you joined recently? How does that relationship work?
Marcus and I joined, correct me if I'm wrong, Marcus, I think it was like maybe 2 months ago.
That's correct.
Yeah, about 2 months ago. So, yeah, I reached out. We had been friends on LinkedIn since about 2016. We've, not routinely, but every now and then we kind of communicated on that platform. And over time, I seen what he was putting out and seen that it would be a good fit. I had a specific need in the marketing side of the house, and Marcus brings an unmatched talent in that area. So it was a really good fit. There's some synergy there that, between him and I that we feel that was a good, unique fit to take our brand Grind to the next level.
That's great. I really love it when someone like yourself, Marquez, engages with a veteran-owned business to help them meet their goals. Before we get into the product, the star of the show, what's it been like? You've been talking to Roger now for 5+ years. What's it like working with a veteran-owned business?
Oh, it's phenomenal for me, Travis, because both my grandfathers served in the Army, World War II. So I've always had a huge support for veterans. I've been working with USO as a subject matter expert in leadership since 2017. And I have always had a tremendous amount of respect and support and just admiration for veterans. I tell everybody, without veterans, there is no free country. There is no football, basketball, baseball. There's none of that, because if we didn't have veterans and people in the military, protecting our country, we wouldn't have a free country. So it's been great, watching Roger, the product, what he's been doing on his own with Amazon, some other great things he'll probably tell you about here in a moment. It's been phenomenal to watch the growth of Grind over the last few months, as he's really putting a lot what I call elbow grease, and now he's just trying to elevate to the next level. And I tell everybody, people can't buy your product, Travis, if they don't know you exist.
we'll get into that because I didn't know he existed, until, like 6 months ago. And then I tried the toothpaste and I'm like, oh, I really did like it. So let's talk about the product. Now, when I think toothpaste, I think the big ones, Crest, Colgate, Aquafresh. But this was different because it has charcoal in it. And I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know a lot, but I know that charcoal is like not just a little abrasive, it's extremely abrasive. And I was concerned, like, won't this take the enamel off my teeth? But you kind of sat down and explained how all this works. So explain why charcoal really sets Grind apart from a conventional toothpaste brand, if you will.
Yeah, so this is just our initial product, and we live by the mantra we haven't created our best product yet. But this is a great start. So the idea behind it, my wife had some concerns with her toothpaste. It was just like she blurted out a statement like, "This toothpaste sucks now," whatever it was. I won't state a name, but they had changed something. She didn't like it, and then she got online and was looking for another one. And she's like, "Man, I like charcoal, but I'm hearing all these bad things." So she started opting out, and that's when it was like a light bulb moment for me. I was like, "Man, okay, let me do some research here." And then I found a toothpaste manufacturer here in Utah, 25 minutes down the road. So I was like, "Okay, now let me dig in a little bit more about charcoal." So long story short, we created a product that takes a charcoal's trendy, right? It was very trendy in the initial stages, and then there's been a lot of backlash with, well, charcoal's abrasive, right? Well, which it is, but it depends on how you utilize it. So many dentists will tell you if you're going to use a charcoal paste, use one with fluoride, and if it doesn't have fluoride in it, don't do it, right? So you have fluoride and fluoride-free versions of big paste on the shelves. You go in any supermarket, you're going to see fluoride or fluoride-free. There's this big movement for fluoride-free. Why? Because there's a lot of resistance towards fluoride for other health concerns that are out there. But the long and short of it is we took the appropriate amount of charcoal and paired it with two ingredients that actually replace fluoride. And there's scientific studies that back these ingredients. One of them has been used in Japan for the last 40 years. It's their gold standard instead of fluoride. So I got to thinking, why can't we do that here, right? It's a harder to source ingredient. Yes. It's more expensive. Yes. But it can be done. Big paste doesn't do it, likely because of cost, right? So yes, we're a niche product, but we're not a niche brand. This is just a start. We found a way to employ charcoal safely, and we got that done. Now it's just getting the word out that we exist, and we got it at a good price point that we feel like, compared to our competition that utilize these ingredients, it doesn't even come close. Our product is right now listed at $8.99, and to find a comparable product with an ingredient like we have in ours, those two ingredients, it would cost you 12 or higher. Most are in the 20s.
Yeah, I got this, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm with Roger Gindlesperger Jr. and Marquez Ogden of Grind Oral Care, and I'm like, okay, I did pay with shipping like $9 for it, and you can go to Target and get any one of the brands for not much money, or a name brand for about $5. But I'm like, well, wait a minute, is it worth it to spend the extra $5 to put something in my mouth that I know is good, that is supporting the veteran-owned business to boot? I said yes, and I looked at the ingredients. I started looking at the ingredients. I'm like, oh my God, I can actually pronounce most of this stuff, and it's not like in a lab, if that makes any sense. So I felt really good about it. And I don't know, and it's funny, you're not the first veteran who's told me, Roger, that his or her wife or husband came up with an idea and it just clicked to do it. So, what's your wife think of now that you have this going?
She loves it. She helps on the day-to-day. She runs the daily operation. So I'm more behind the scenes. She's running the ground ops every day, making sure product gets out timely and whatnot. But yeah, she loves it. She was instrumental in the development of it. So her and a lot of her friends, my friends, we took 9 months to really develop the product. So we started the process in January 2020. We launched in October, but there was a lot of R&D and testing involved to make sure we were doing it right. we worked with a great chemist. We were in a lab doing this, the right way versus just, this isn't some like off the cuff thing that we threw together and threw it in a blender at the house. No, we worked with a chemist in the lab and lots of iterations, seven revisions to the product. So you could call it number 7, if you will. But
Grind 7.
The last 3 were dialing in the taste alone. So we felt like we had it right at 4, and then 5, 6, and 7 was all taste. Just dialing that in to make sure we had the right flavor proportion.
So what you're saying is, in a long-about way, it's possible to make your wife happy.
Yeah, somewhat.
Very good, very good. So kind of, coming back to you, Marquez, you and Roger have been talking for a while, and you see this product and you see him go through this. And I'm curious, from your perspective, what clicked with you and said, you know what, I like this, I'm going to support it. When did that happen for you?
So Travis, I have it right here. And, for me, when Roger approached me about 2 months ago, I said, okay, Roger, this sounds great, but send me the product to try. And like you, Colgate, Aquafresh, Crest, all the big boys, all that stuff, you're paying between $4, $5 for, a tube. So I said, okay, Roger, this sounds phenomenal, but I want to try it. Like you said, it's charcoal, it's gray, blackish toothpaste, all this kind of stuff. And I started using it at that time right away. And it felt better. Like, sometimes when I would use some of the bigger, toothpaste, brands, sometimes it would be a little abrasive. And sometimes you would get those little, you call them those sores in your gums and things like that. And I said, okay, you know what? It's just what's on the market. This is the way it is. I want to try this. So in the last, 2 months since I've been using it, I don't use anything else. The only thing, and Roger knows this, I'm trying to figure out how to use it for me is when I travel for speaking, because as a speaker, I'm not allowed to, this will be too big to go onto, into your bag unless you check your bag, which I never do. I'm always, light carry to just keep things moving. But other than that, Travis, I use it every day. It's in my bag where I, take my clothes. I go to the gym, 7 days a week. So it's right there in my bag and I use it all the time. And I have not had any of the gum abrasions I used to have with some of the other big toothpaste. When I went to my dentist checkup, probably about 2 weeks ago, it was the first time in a long time I wasn't actually afraid, quote unquote, to go to the dentist and sit in the chair and have them do a cleaning and all that stuff. And they could just tell that my teeth were better. They could tell that it was much stronger. They could tell that combined with flossing, it was just a much better outcome and product for my teeth. So when I tried it after about a week straight, that's when I told Roger, I believe in it. I think you have something really good here, unique here. And on top of that, it's a veteran-owned business. And like Roger said, he's always trying to become better, which also I like, because that's telling me that he's never satisfied with this getting to the top, because that's how I got into my business before I met Roger way back in construction. I made some mistakes. I got very lazy and I lost everything I owned. So between Roger's, personality, along with, using for about a week straight, when he sent me the samples, I was all in at that time.
Gotcha. So you get to version 7. I'm going to call it grind 7. I really like the way that sounds. Or G7. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say it's G7. And you have something that you can stand behind, Roger. What's it been like taking that from, the chemist in the kitchen, the focus group, your family and friends, to market? How's that all work? Because a lot of veterans I notice, and myself included, that's the real hurdle you got to get over first. How did you do that?
Yeah, it's hard work. It's a grind. I think we named it appropriately, because going against big paste, it's going to be a grind. There's no quit in this. But no, it's been a unique process. I did not know how to take a product to market. I didn't know how to develop a product even. You know what I mean? Marketing, all this stuff. Yeah, you learn stuff in school. I have an MBA, but that stuff's really check the block. It's glossed over at a higher level, and you really don't get into the weeds until you start doing it yourself and putting in that elbow grease. So So there's been unique challenges along the way, quality issues with our manufacturer. I had to send a lot of product back, hold them to a quality standard. So learning as we go with that, learning the hiccups of the road to getting onto Amazon, right? Just getting onto Amazon as a new toothpaste was a ridiculous feat in and of itself.
Talk to me about that, because you had worked for Amazon. Did you think you're going to have some of the challenges getting into the Amazon ecosystem?
No, I stood in the middle of those warehouses and I seen product flowing right by me all day long, right? And I knew at that moment, I was like, I am in the wrong business, right? Yeah, I'm making good money, but look at this. You know what I mean? So a lot of product flowing through there, but so I didn't think I was going to have the initial challenge. You don't know what you don't know. So one of the hurdles we had to cross was the categorization. So toothpaste is a category that is blocked off in a way. So you have to separate, so you can apply to be on Amazon as a seller and get approved. And then you have to separately apply for a category like toothpaste. And I had to wait nearly 3 months for that approval process to go through. So a 3-month wait, just waiting, never hearing anything back. You can contact them till you're blue in the face, and then just one day we got approved. So it was great. I mean, we had to send in a lot of documentation a couple different times to get approval, but yeah, we went through that. And then just getting listed on Amazon, getting all that stood up when you've never done it before can be a challenge, but just getting online, reading what other sellers have done, best practices and stuff like that. Wasted a lot of money initially on internal Amazon advertising, at least $3,000 in the first month, went to that, and then more in the next month. So lessons learned there for sure. Might have done it differently, but if I do it again. But recently we've seen some success. We got selected in the Amazon Launchpad, which is a unique opportunity in and of itself. It gives us the ability to ramp up on Amazon. So they give you some marketing stuff that you would otherwise have to pay large amounts for. We were selected into the military entrepreneurship program with Amazon. It's a pilot program. So we're one of the first brands to be selected. So we're providing feedback to Amazon on that. That has given us a resource. I have a guy that I can call at Amazon that is available to me weekly. I can set up weekly meetings with him if I have any issues. That program in and of itself is worth, like, if you were a big brand and you were paying for that, you'd have to pay at least $250,000 a year for that program. So we've been blessed to have some opportunities that others don't, and we realize that and we know that, but we're going to use that to our advantage as well. So and then recently, this past week, we've been accepted in Amazon Launchpad Australia and Europe, and they're trying to get us into Japan at the moment as well. So lots of logistics to be worked out to figure those things out. They're going to come with their own unique challenges, but we're ready to get this thing going.
So speaking of get it going, I kind of want to pivot back to Marquez for a minute. You're seeing this forward momentum that he's done on his own. So the reason I'm kind of wanting to pick your brain for a minute is a lot of veterans get frustrated at this point. They don't know what to do to market. They have all this effort they're putting in there, but they don't see a lot of return on it. How do you take something that Roger's done and then, help him move it forward and give that boost in areas that either he can't do or doesn't have the expertise in to move his product?
So, Travis, there's 3 real avenues of marketing: social positioning, which is how Roger and I met, networking calls, and referral calls. The easiest way to market a business is referral calls or referral business, because it's you going to people that somebody has given you like the gold stamp that your work is great. So I call those the hot leads. Roger's done very well there with Amazon and leveraging all that kind of stuff. Then networking is what I call like your warm, right? It's kind of like, people in your network, get in front of different people, the veteran-owned business, some other things. Roger's got some other big brands that are looking at us as well through the networking side of the way you can market, which he's done very well there. Now, the one that is most difficult is the social position. I call that your cold kind of lead faucet. because it takes so much time, Travis, to really build it up. It's because you need to learn how to become a thought leader through consistent posting and consistent effort. So what happens, I feel most people get frustrated in business because they end up exhausting the referral-based marketing, the networking-based marketing. And what happens is you see your circle that seems so big to you starts to get smaller and smaller because you start talking to other people and it just keeps shrinking. On the other side, social positioning, if you keep doing it consistently, it gets larger and larger and larger. And that's how we've been very fortunate to grow our business through consulting and speaking, the way Roger connected with us. So we're really working on that. Like, we have lots of podcasts we're looking to get on to help get him more traction. We have some brand influencers we're talking to help get him more traction and awareness. So what Roger is doing now is what I call the social positioning aspect, which again creates a lot more leads. It just takes consistency and fortitude to watch it expand and grow, because it's not a fly-by-night or a quick fix sort of a process.
So I'm listening to what you're saying. It almost seems like it's a combination of patience plus sustained commitment to equal success.
It's focus plus discipline equals success.
Okay.
Exactly. Because think about it, Travis, let's take our brand. We have had so many people reach out to us, connect us on LinkedIn, getting on podcasts, even like doing your podcast, right? This helps our brand and it helps Travis's brand, and it helps Roger's brand, and it helps grind together because we are business partners. I'm a part owner in Grind. Roger has his own brand of a veteran-owned business that can help other veterans do great things. We have a brand, but it all comes together. So again, the focus plus the discipline equals success. A lot of people don't want to do posting on social media. They don't want to do podcasts. They don't want to do all that because why can't anybody buy my product today? Well, you plant seeds today to grow the trees tomorrow or down the line or a month. So where I feel a lot of people, Travis, struggle immensely is the social positioning, building that pipeline sustainably, because it's not going to be what I call quick results.
Well, I mean, you played in the NFL, so you know that, you had to work a long time before you got your career going in the NFL. It took discipline, it took focus. We as veterans know that we have to be disciplined and focused at all times. But still, I think there's something to that, because a lot of veterans I know do not want to go on podcasts. They don't want to write for a blog. They don't want to speak at an engagement, whether it's a VFW, AMVETS, or in front of a Rotary. And, social media, forget that. I don't have time for it. So, I think this is where I think a lot of veterans, get frustrated and ultimately quit. And that kind of separates, Roger, because starting to talk to him, he's been kind of in this business game for a while and knows what to do. So we have, I'm going to call it G7 Roger. I just think that's just absolutely savage. I love it. And I'm using it. And, I have, had some oral work done, braces and all that. And I made a commitment a long time ago as a teenager that not to waste my parents' money and take care of my teeth. And I really enjoy it, but my old dentist was floored that this didn't have any fluoride in it. Like, he's a big believer in fluoride, and I'm going to send him some. And here's another thing is I have a Marine buddy of mine. I'll tell you a funny story. His wife was in the dentistry industry for 20 years. And I'd go to this house. She has a dentist chair in her house. And one of the first things that she made me do was, and this is where I'm like, okay, wives are wives. She wanted to look in my mouth. So I'm gonna do this for a good 6 months and let Paula look in my mouth, and we're gonna see what she thinks. I sent them some of the toothpaste. They love it. I'm gonna have them back on to talk with you about their experience. But the story clicks with people. And so it's toothpaste. what else is next for Roger?
Oh, toothpaste is just the beginning. That's the
Right. What
foundation
else
for
is next?
Grind. But we got aspirations for all the other oral care products. We got toothbrushes in the works, flossers, tongue scrapers, all that stuff, mouthwash. And then what I would say is just a start as well. I won't go into the other products that we are aspirational about, but if you can use it, if it's used in a bathroom, we're thinking about it. But we got to start. We got to start here, right? So our main focus, we're dialed in right now on toothpaste, and we're dialed in on letting everybody know that this product exists.
Well, okay. So the reason I kind of want to, pick your brain about this is you were in the Army for 20
Yes.
years. So you got pretty high up in the ranks, and you had to take care of, E5s and below. And I know that, in the Marine Corps, dental care was not optional. You're going to the dentist whether you want to or not. Did you ever see any soldiers that didn't take oral care seriously?
Yeah, you always had to kick people in the rear to get them to go to the dentist or go to the doc to get their shots. You know what I mean? Stay current on all those MilPer stuff, if that's still the accurate term, I think. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, you have your ones and twos that don't stay on top of it, and you got to keep them in check. Yep.
Well, I say that because, really, I got into this when I had my oral surgery done when I was a teenager and discovered how oral care and healthcare are a real indicator, how your teeth really indicate a lot of things about your body. And something as simple as floss and brushing twice a day is what I do, is a key component of that. So as you grow, I guess I'm trying to articulate this right, is how do you position this as a replacement for somebody who's used one of the other brands all their life, or a dentist office that's used one of the big boys all their
so
career?
First and foremost, we want to be known for better ingredients, better toothpaste, better oral hygiene. That's in and of itself number one. And then number two is we want to be more than a paste, right? We want to be that subtle reminder to get after it and attack your day, overcome whatever challenge you have in front of you. That subliminal messaging, if you will. That's the way we branded our product. So Marcus, do you want to touch on anything else?
So what we do, Travis, is, and I love doing when I'm talking to people, is I let them know that the first tactical step action we have basically put into play is the toothpaste. But we're thinking more strategic and long-term with toothpaste, with dental floss, with mouthwash, etc. This way they know that we're a company and organization that's going to be self-sustaining, growing, and just not being stagnant, which people like because it makes them feel comfortable that, Grind is not just going to be here today, gone tomorrow. It's going to be here today and around forever. And that's the difference. As a part owner and the chief marketing officer, what I always make sure we're doing is we're seeing the vision. But because of my background in business, I'm also very tactical, letting people know what we're doing right now to help them see that there's a long-term play here and a long-term vision and view with Grind Oral Care.
So that leads me to a couple of questions about perfection, and two, about, core competency. Some people would tell me that, hey, Roger should focus only on toothpaste and making sure this toothpaste is the absolute best before moving forward with anything else. And some people would say, you know what, the fact that he's launched now, kind of like what you're saying, Marcus, the fact that you've launched now, Roger, and got this going is invaluable to take that space and grow off of it. What do you gentlemen feel is the best way? Is it, perfecting this one product and making sure it's absolutely pristine, or taking the approach you have?
Yeah, I can hit that real quick. I would say it's both. It's right now that product in your hand isn't perfect. And we're making a couple tweaks, not to the product inside. We feel like the formula is there. Formula is dialed in. The external packaging in the carton is dialed in. The tube, not so much. So we're making a little game change on the tube. But that's what you do at halftime, right? You go in, you make some changes, adjust, and come out in the second half better and stronger. So that's what we're gonna do. And then like you said, we're gonna focus on the back end on some other products that we have that we have outlined that we want to launch too. This is just our first toothpaste. So there's going to be more to come. There's going to be other variations without charcoal, other variations for kids as well. So.
And here, let me get my take on that, Travis. And here's what I always tell people. It's one thing if you're going to do toothpaste, they're going to go out and make pancake syrup. Or if you're going to go do toothpaste and go out there and make, I don't know, some type of, eggs, dish or whatever the case may be. What we're doing is Roger will always perfect the toothpaste, make variations, because like myself, a lot of veterans and athletes are perfectionists. We know we can never, ever have perfection per se, but we'll always strive for that. But what he is doing, which I am in complete support of, he is expanding what I call some products and some services, such as the floss or the mouthwash, at the right time, which fits the lane he's in. Toothpaste, floss, mouthwash are all in the same lane. So as you're perfecting a product in the lane, it's very good for you to develop other products within that lane. Take me as a speaker. If I only did speaking, right, Travis, I'd be in a lot of trouble right now when the pandemic hit. So I do speaking, I do coaching, I have written a book. All of that stuff fits in the same lane, so I can be able to expand services. That's exactly what Roger's doing when it comes to oral health care. You have a product, but because you want to expand, you can develop other products that are within the same product lane or industry, which is a great fit in my eyes.
This is fully in flight. You've met the challenges of getting on Amazon. You align yourself with people that truly support you. What do you sit in our meetings, Roger, we sat together several times for hours on end talking about different issues. I have a lot of veterans who approach me saying, hey, I want to start a business, but I'm stuck. Is there some kind of magic formula, or is it simply someone who's willing to be disciplined and focused? Does that trump talent or product?
Yeah, I think you nailed it. Discipline and focus, just grinding it out, trying to, I hate to use puns, but that's what it takes.
No.
I mean, it's just getting after it and figuring out a way. I knew nothing about oral care. Nothing. I knew nothing about making toothpaste, right? I brushed my teeth.
Well, that's why I asked you about the military, because I'm thinking, well, it had to be more than just his wife, but it really was your wife, not some E3 or E4 that failed dental call. No. Okay, all right.
I had an itchy trigger finger to do something. I knew I wanted to do something on the side with my wife. We wanted to do something together. We just didn't know what, right? I'll say this even here on camera, because this is weird, but I mean, we made candles in the house. I mean, we were thinking about doing a candle thing. And then I have a business plan right now for an energy drink that I never acted on, right? And a couple others that are just sitting on the shelf in my, file, collecting dust, right? Maybe someday I'll take action, but definitely not anytime soon. But yeah, this was just, it felt like the right fit. It felt like the right moment to start it. And yeah, to anybody else, you never know where your path's going to end up. But for me, I mean, yeah, oral care, it's different. It doesn't align with the veteran side. And for Marcus, probably doesn't align with the NFL side, but putting a unique spin on it. We have an inspirational product. So we wanted to make that unique. You look at a toothpaste shelf and you see a lot of boring but essential products on there. So we want to be on that shelf. We want to be next to the big three, and we're hungry to do that. And we hope with time that we'll get there.
Well, that's what I like about, I'm trying to do my thing, and that's a different conversation, but that's what I like about veterans, Roger. And, we go through, high school and sometimes college, go in the military, get out of the military, and sometimes got to bounce around before we find a job, much less start a business. My point is, it's constant. We have had to retool ourselves 2 or 3 times. Marcus, you went to high school, you played football in college, and at a high level, you got out, you bounced around different businesses. You've had to reinvent yourself a couple of times. And I really believe, gentlemen, that's what separates us from other people who've been doing the same job for 20 years. Nothing wrong with that. but it brings a different perspective to life than other people. And so I'm kind of curious, for your all's relationship, does that aspect of you all having to basically reboot every 5 years really cause you two to work together really well?
So I'll say for me, it's really good to work with someone who has gone through transitions, multiple, that has started a business, that has put their own money, their own time, their own sweat equity into the business to get it to where it has the chance to succeed. A lot of people talk about a business, Travis, but they don't really put the effort in, the money in, the time in. In my first failed, it was my third failed business with my construction company. It was all my own money. It was all my own sweat equity, and I grew it to be very successful. Then I lost it all. When I started this business, speaking coaching, when I had enough money to invest in the right people, website, et cetera, I did that. And today, I invest in that business. I invest in Grind Oral Care because as an owner and the chief marketing officer, if I don't believe in something, then I'm not gonna put my name on it. So somebody like Roger that's been through the trials, the tribulations, the ups, the downs, had to pivot multiple times to get to where he is today. In my eyes, that makes for a great business partner because I know if times get tough, he's not just gonna throw the towel in and fold and run away.
So as we wind this down, the most obvious question is, how can I tell people to get some G7 and embrace the grind?
Yeah.
And I love that. I love the name. I do. And it's not just that charcoal's grind on my teeth, which is what one of my buddies said. I said, no, this person went from zero to nothing. And, the grind represents this. I think it's just very well done. But how can I tell people to get it? What's the best way to get some in their medicine cabinet?
Yeah, so a couple different ways. On our website, direct to consumer, we ship it out from here. So that's grindoralcare.com, grindoralcare.com. And then on Amazon or Walmart.com as well. We're on there. We're also on eBay. So we're trying to be everywhere we can on e-commerce. Just to go ahead.
You can buy toothpaste on eBay.
People do, so it's a thing. So if they're doing it, we're trying to be out there. So and then we're still trying to break down barriers to get into brick and mortar. But yeah, as of today, Amazon, Walmart, eBay, and direct to consumer on our website.
So here's my promise to you, Roger and Marcus. I have a dentist in Boston who I got with, and I really like this guy. I'm going to order a tube of this and see what he thinks. And I'd like to have my military buddy and his wife, who's been in dentistry, back on and talk with you both about, their experience with it. But if he tries this and, gives feedback, I'm going to get him to freaking, come down on Oscar Mike Radio and meet you guys.
We would love it. The one thing that's going to stand out for him is going to be the charcoal, right? He's going to get dialed in on the charcoal and it not having fluoride. But it's got two ingredients. One to point out is hydroxyapatite. Hydroxyapatite, there's been studies that indicate it's on par or even better than fluoride. Government studies, and they're out there. I've done the research for him.
I don't know much about toothpaste like Marcus does, but I do see people who grind. There's other veterans I've had on this show who are in their grind every day. There's some veterans who, and civilians too, who have to embrace that. They're not going on vacations all the time. They're not, hanging out at the bar on Friday night. They're working on their business plans and their marketing strategies to move things forward. They're building those relationships with people who really care about them. And that's why I'm a big fan, man.
And I'll say this real too, Travis. I can't speak for other races, but as an African-American male, African-Americans have a notorious reputation for high blood pressure, diabetes, and things of that nature. I have talked to both my dentist and my doctor that said taking care of your teeth helps to reduce high blood pressure and diabetes and other things of that nature that are a really high problem all over, I feel, but especially in the African-American community. So when I heard that from my dentist and my doctor, and I knew I was using Grind, and I got that great report last month from my dentist when I went to see them, it made me feel really, really strong. I never told this to Roger because, again, my father passed away of health issues related to weight, diabetes, hypertension. I had a grandfather who had both his legs amputated from diabetes. I have had many family members have had high blood pressure, hypertension. So when my dentist said that again, that taking care of your teeth can help reduce those things, I was all in even more. So that's another reason why you talked about football players, not really a big thing. Well, football players and athletes in general, but especially football players that that go to the dentist and go to the doctor, these things, they know that one of the things that we have a hard time with are the hypertension, the high blood pressure, et cetera. So it goes hand in hand. So I'm very excited to be a co-owner and a really involved in an executive position here because it's something that can help my health, but also I believe it'll help a lot of people to help them, to take down and reduce some of those health problems that are associated with taking care of your teeth.
So this might not be like a weapon system or platform, but really oral care is part of overall health care, regardless of who you are. So if you can take this into those communities that may not put a premium on it, you're making change, man. How's that feel to you when you hear that, Roger?
Yeah, it feels good. That's what we want to do. We want to be an advocate for change. We want to change the game, for sure. Well,
I want to thank Roger and Marquez for coming on Oscar Mike Radio. We've been trying to do this for a while now, but you talk about Oscar Mike means on the move, and he is literally Oscar Mike every day. I appreciate you gentlemen's flexibility. I love G7. I use it every day, and you should too. I'm going to have the links to Grind Oral Care's site and Amazon links in the show post, so you'll have no excuse not to try this. And I bet you will. I've enjoyed getting to talk with you, gentlemen.
Yeah, thank you, Travis.
Thank you, sir.
Awesome. Well, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Again, thank you to Roger Marquez, owners and founders of Grind Oral Care. Keep smiling, keep grinding.